everyone, this is Amy. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you a simple yellow flower design painted on this green Jägermeister bottle. I am going to be using two Amagic flat brushes, a number 10 and a number 6, I do believe. They're kind of hard to see, but two flat brushes. You really could use any brand, that's up to you. Using a number 8 Deerfoot Stippler. Paint I'm using today is pale yellow. Using a mixture of multi-surface and enamels. School Bus Yellow. Thicket. Yellow Ochre. Forest Moss. And Wicker White. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Basically, I will be using the number 10 to get started. With the way this is I don't believe I have enough room. No, here we go. It's just as small as it gets. Still working on my camera. I ended up sending the one I just bought back. Wasn't happy with it. So back to doing the video with my camera. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and fully load my number 10 flat brush. Then I just stick the tip into whatever paint that I want to use, and meaning that is, you know, contrasting paint. And I am going to start by, I'm sorry, I'm crumpling up paper here, by just doing some quick little pulls right next to each other. And I'm just going to come back around and keep adding different colors and just putting the little petals, two of them right next to each other. I'm going to go ahead and maybe make these a little bit closer. It's almost as if these are creating a single petal, even though it's two strokes right beside each other. And then just going to go around creating the flower, and then just going to go over it with some more color and do a couple more strokes over this way. And I have to be careful too, because these brushes that I use are long handled brushes, excuse me, and the problem with that is that they tend to hit my camera lens or camera as I'm trying to paint, so I have to be a little careful. And then I'm just going to do some partials here. They're not actually completely open, they're just partially. I have cleaned this bottle. This bottle is one that I'm actually just using for the purpose of creating a video with. So I don't have to be really careful as far as wiping it off with rubbing alcohol, that kind of thing. But when you're painting on your own, you do need to clean your glass well before you start painting on it. You also should go over it with rubbing alcohol whenever you're finished painting, or I'm sorry, before you start painting. Goodness, that wouldn't be good, would it? Just to make sure, even though you've cleaned it with soap and water, you could still have, you know, oils from your fingers, that type of thing. Maybe even some debris left over if you have whatever you dried the item with. Could have maybe even some lint coming off of it from another, you know, from a rag or whatnot. So you just need to make sure you do those steps. They're very important. And you can leave some spaces in between your petals. They don't have to be right on top of each other. Not a requirement. If you think when you're doing these that the paint is not as opaque as you'd like it to be, because putting a good coat of paint on your design will actually give your design a better chance of being more durable because the paint is on thickly. Apologize, here comes my furnace. You know, you can give it some drying time, hit it with a heat gun, a hair dryer, whatever you have available, or maybe even just give it an hour of drying time and come back over it. And if you know have the thickness that you like, then just so be it. Just leave it the way it is. Doesn't, especially on a bottle, it's not quite as important as it would be on drinking glasses. You know, if you're doing wine glasses or the such, you really need to make sure that those have good coverage because they're going to be used more, handled more, that type of thing. So just so you know, are cautious with that. I'm just going to go over this. You can really do this kind of a project in any color. I just decided to do some yellows. Again, you can look at this and say, hey, I need to go back over this. Might need a little shot of paint. Up to you. So I think that's good. Now what I'm going to do is go in and do my greens, and I'm going to, I need to actually put some more on my plate. I'm going to do the thicket, the forest moss, and I am going to be tipping my brush into the white. You know, you can tip it into yellow, you can really, whatever contrasting color you like. You know, definitely, you know, when you're doing the glass, it helps to, if you're going to be doing, you know, multicolors in a stroke, you need to maybe throw some white in there, or a color that has more pigment in it, like white, because that'll help with the way it looks on the glass. All right, so I'm going to come up here, and hopefully you could see this, and start attaching my little stems. Come in here, just kind of pull, and if you want, I mean, you can organize it to where it comes, you know, the direction you want it. I always tend to go to the left for some reason, maybe because I'm left-handed. And that's another thing too, if you're watching me paint and you're like, well, that's not real comfortable for me, why am I not getting it? You might have to actually go the opposite direction. So say, for instance, for me, the natural stroke is to go from right to left. You might have to switch it up and go from left to right. I like to try to bring that up or mention that as much as possible when I remember, because I know for me, being left-handed, when somebody that's right-handed tries to teach me how to do something, sometimes I can get so daggone frustrated, and I'm like, why can I not get this? I mean, it does make a difference. Trust me, I've had some really crazy experiences with that. So I do like to try to mention that as much as possible, because I don't want you to get frustrated. The point of my channel is to encourage creativity. I want people to find something that's like a hobby or whatnot that can give you satisfaction, relaxation. And I do believe that painting and drawing are great places to start. Alright, so let's go ahead, keep going here. Alright, so I'm going to take these are just my little buds, and just kind of swing it down like that. Hopefully you got that. I'm trying to pay attention and make sure you're getting what I'm doing here. Alright, and then you can just do some funky little leaves. They're kind of weird looking, I think, but they're different. Kind of almost like doing a teardrop in a sense. bring them into the stem. Now I don't have as much space as I did on my paper where I created this. I always create my designs on paper before I put them on my gloss piece or my rocks. So sometimes there has to be an adjustment, or maybe the paint is not adhering the way I wanted it to. It's a little different when you paint on glass. Definitely not the same as painting on paper or canvas or wood, for that matter. If you don't like these leaves, I know they're, like I said, they're kind of different. They're just more like a kind of like a teardrop. Don't worry about it. Do whatever you like. Now I'm going to go into the yellow a little bit. So, all right, and then I'm not going to focus constantly on this style. I am going to do some of my regular favorites. And I think I got that on there. Sorry about that. And I'm going to go back over that again. It kind of separated a little bit. If you get too much paint in your paintbrush, just wipe it off on a paper towel. Sometimes I don't make as crisp designs when my brush has too much paint in it. And I know some people, they're okay with that, or they like to have a lot of paint. I like to have enough because I want good coverage, but I don't want it to be too much where it makes my stroke work not be very crisp. And unless I'm just trying to do a very loose design style, that's possible too. And I do like to change my leaves going from with different colors, whether it's totally green, dark green on each side, or if it's lighter green on one side and a darker green on the other side, just kind of mixing it up a little bit. That's fun. But you don't have to. You don't have to do that. Or you could try to do some colors where it's different shades of green, or you do like some brown leaves. Just whatever. Get creative. Make it your own. Even though I'm showing you something doesn't mean that you have to create just like I'm doing by any means at all. Or if you're a more experienced painter and my designs are just too simplistic for you, I realize that's a possibility, and that's okay because of what I'm trying to create here. But you're welcome to use my designs as an inspiration if that's possible, and if it's not, then that's fine too. All right, so I think I'm going to stop with the leaves. My next step to finish this up is to tap in the centers. I am going to, on my dear foot stippler, the tip is going to be the thicket. The back end is going to be the forest moss. And I apologize, I can't get this on the screen. It's just the way it is with this camera. I can't really back it up with my setup too far. All right, so I always load it, and then I tap it on my plate or my whatever I'm using. I tap it just to get the excess paint out. I am going to tip the front of it where I had the thicket, the darker green, and then just come in and tap my centers a little bit, whoops, with white. Like that. Just kind of give it a little bit more detail. You can put in dots. You can take your brush and do some things around the top to make it look like there's pieces coming in, little pieces coming up over the center. You can do it in yellows, browns, whatever you want to do. But that's it for tonight. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please make sure you give me a big thumbs up If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. And before you leave, please make sure you share this video on your social network with all your family and friends. I would gratefully appreciate it. That helps me so much in trying to grow my channel. And until the next time, please stay safe and healthy, and have a good one.